What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today, I want to dive into the 3 most significant lessons that I've learned since becoming a hitting coach. Now, if you've been following me for a little bit, you know that I played over a decade of professional baseball and have accumulated about 1,500 at-bats at the major league level. So I gained some really valuable insight from the player's perspective. And then over the last 3 years of being a hitting coach, I've gotten the opportunity to learn different perspectives of how to help players where they're at right now. So I want to dive into this list because there's a lot of bullet points and I think it's really valuable information. So number 1 on my list, playing at a high level doesn't automatically make you a great coach. That was something that I knew when I retired, but I didn't fully understand. So playing experience is very valuable. You need to understand the perspective of what do I do in this situation, especially on the offensive side. Hitting has so many variables, but understand this too. What worked in your career is not going to work or be applicable to every single hitter that you work with. So you have to be actively learning as a coach so that you can help more and more players. So this offseason, I had a really interesting conversation with a current Major League Baseball player. And he was talking to me about hitting coaches, point of views, and working with different guys. And I asked him, I said, do you feel like you understand hitting well enough to help guys on your team or to coach younger guys if you were to do that right now? His answer was this: I know hitting from my perspective, but when teammates ask me about their swings, I have no idea what to look for because guys are relating any piece of information to how does that affect me. And I've seen this in the cages a lot this offseason of there might be a really quality hitter who's struggling and he'll ask the opinion of 3 or 4 different guys that he's hitting with, all major league guys or have major league time. And each one of them will have a different opinion because they've learned things different ways. Just because you ask a question to a high level baseball player doesn't mean their answer is applicable to you right here, right now. So the next thing on that is the best coaches acknowledge that they don't know everything. My favorite coaches that I've worked with in my career are willing to admit when they don't have the answers. And then what they do next is what really sets them apart. I don't have the answer for you right now, but I'm going to go find out and I'll bring it back to you. You have a ton of experience around you. So go find someone that has the proper experience to help your player go through the situation and move past it to the best of your ability. Check your ego at the door. You don't have to know everything, but be honest with your players if you don't have the answers right here, right now, because the wrong information can be so much worse in the long run and in the short run especially. So be honest with your guys, please. Okay, so that's number 1, 3 items underneath. Number 2 on my list, great coaches prioritize communication over knowledge. So what does that mean to you? It's not enough just to know the game, okay? The best coaches are really skilled at connecting with players from all across the world. At the professional ranks, you got guys that are from multiple countries. You have to understand how to communicate hitting to them right here, right now. And that's easier said than done. And let's just even go stateside. If I'm working with a kid from California, I got to communicate differently with him than a guy that's from upstate New York. I can't speak the same language because they've learned hitting up to this point completely different than the West Coast guy might have. So you have to understand that the communication piece of this matters way more than what your knowledge is. You can project all you want, but if you can't communicate that knowledge, then it's all for nothing. A great coach listens first. With where the amateur generation seems to be at, from what I'm learning, they don't want to be talked at. They want to be communicated with. It almost has to be their idea for it to really stick. If I am constantly projecting what I want them to do onto them in a session, the chance of them retaining that type of knowledge and experience is less likely. So a great coach is going to listen first and then tailor the message to that player at that point in time. Hitting is very unique and it's very individualized. We can have general concepts, but it has to feel like it's custom when it's getting delivered to the guys. And the bottom line of the communication piece is that the most successful coaching relationships are built on trust. They're built on trust, openness, and the willingness to adapt in different situations. In season might be a different conversation than the off season. Be willing to adapt, be willing to grow with your players. If you can do that, you're gonna have clients for a long time. Number 3 on my list is technology is valuable, but it's not everything. One of my favorite quotes that I heard from a hitting coach named is Trey Hannum. He wrote this, he goes, everything is great, everything sucks. It's based off of the opinion of the beholder who's interpreting the information. There's so much information out there in regards to Rapsodo, TrackMan, Blast Motion. There's so much great data out there that you can utilize, but a perfect swing doesn't always translate to more hits. Analytics are going to provide a storyline for the coach. They're going to tell them where there can be improvements made right here, right now. but it's the coach's job to create some sort of an actionable plan that the player agrees with to move forward with. Because if we're not on the same page during this process, then what are we working towards? You have to get very creative with your problem solving in the batter's box. Rapsodo is by far my favorite piece of technology. I don't always share it with hitters because I want the information. It's not always for them. I want to see how different adjustments translate and then use the Rapsodo as feedback in the moment. It is the best piece of technology out there. If you guys can get one, I highly suggest it. Video is my preferred method though, because the video is not going to lie. Sometimes I will compare an amateur hitter to a major league hitter to give them a point of reference. My favorite thing to do though is compare the hitter that you're working with to prior swings, and preferably game swings. So I want to see, what does the game swing look like, and then how are we preparing that in the cage? I am a big advocate of comparing you versus you, because you versus Nolan Arenado may not be a fair player comp. Even if your moves are similar, we can educate ourselves on what the moves can look like, but if your body's not going to function that way, then we're just beating our head against the walls. But if I can compare your swing now to your swing 3 months ago, and I can show you the progress in specific areas of your swing, it's building confidence. And confidence is the most valuable thing that a hitter can possess. And also lose. But compare you versus you, especially with your swing. You might have guys that you really love, but I encourage you to save video of prior lessons or prior games so that you can reflect back on it, especially when you're going well. Save the footage of when you're going well, because when all of a sudden you hit the skids, let's reflect back on the foundation that you've already built, because you didn't get to this point by stinking. I want to know your thoughts on these 3 topics. I kind of went into depth on this, but this is what YouTube is. I want to hear what you guys think, what you guys agree with, maybe disagree with. So drop your comments below, and as always, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.